In this video, I'm going to show you one of Element's most powerful features, which is the ability to make custom code and deploy it to the backend without having to restart servers or log into a secure shell or anything like that. We have a build environment that allows you to run it in the IDE, as well as deploy it through our CMS or our admin panel. The first thing you're going to need is an IDE. We recommend IntelliJ, either the free version or the professional version. Both work just fine. We've tested it on both. IntelliJ offers the IDE for Windows, Mac, and Linux. As you can see, I am on Linux, but really you can use any operating system you want, so long as you have a good IDE and the ability to run Java. So after you've downloaded that and installed it, you can run the IDE, and we'll load it up. Now, what I have here is the example code that is on our GitHub, and you can just check this out and look at it, use it as reference anytime. But I'll show you how to do it without cloning the example code. In your IDE, the first thing you're going to see is probably a window like this and my demo element. So I'm going to name my project my demo element. I'm going to specify its location. I'm going to create a Git repository for it so we can check it in later. And lastly, I am going to make sure that I have an IDE installed. We want a Java 21, and I'm using Tamarin. That's what I recommend because we do all our builds and releases using Tamarin. You can really use just about anyone you want. It's just the one that we know works the best. We're going to then go to archetype, and we're going to create a new project. And what an archetype is it's a program that we publish with our APIs that can automatically generate the boilerplate code so you don't have to set up a project from scratch. So the easy thing to do here is we enter in the coordinates for the archetype, which is dev.getElements.elements, and it's SDK element standard. And the version we're going to use is 3.7.1.1, which is the latest stable version of Elements. And when you hit add here, it should come up. And you know that it's correct because it will say Elements version, and these two will match. We go down to advanced settings here, and I'm just going to use what we used for the last run, and it's going to be com.namazustudios.mygame. And my demo element is going to be the name of the element. Once we've clicked create, we see all of this here. Generate the project, and we should see a build success. We'll see the files here on the left. The API contains shared interfaces among all elements. That's an advanced topic, and we can get into that in another video tutorial. We have a debug run script. This just creates and launches your instance, and then we have the element itself, and this is where most of your code is going to live. Inside this is our RESTful endpoints. A quick breakdown of what's in the implementation. This is a juice configuration. We have model classes, which are the classes sent over the network, and we have our endpoint code. And the simplest endpoint is just this hello world endpoint. I'm going to edit the code here a little bit. And all this does is when you do a GET request to /hello world, it will return the string hello world. We can run this with a single click, and how we do that is we right-click, we open the debug project here on the left, and we go to the main class, and this is just a launcher script. It's some boilerplate that we provide that helps you launch the element. Let me make this a little bit bigger so I can see. 1 second, here we go. All right. The first thing it does is it actually launches the database for us if it's not already launched. And then we specify the source root, which always matches where this POM file is. And then we deploy the element based on its coordinates. This will tell the local SDK to load the element's code just in time. The last thing we need to do, and this is only the first time, is we debug this by clicking More Run Debug, Modify Run Configuration, Find, Add Dependencies with Provided Scope. We click that, make sure that's checked, we apply it, and then we see the Run option here, and we can build it, and we can run it. And what's happening now is Elements is booting up. It actually builds your entire element and installs it locally, which is what it's doing now. And if you watch the logs for just a few seconds here, it will start to display things like found API. We'll close that, and it'll say mounted container. So what that means is that it successfully is running the element at this path. So we can open up a browser where we can enter the default credentials, which is root example. You can show that. And we are able to access the management panel. So what we have here is the current state of the system. We have a runtime, which is what houses the running element. And we can see its metadata, its deployment logs. We can see the metadata in raw JSON form. And we can see what's most important here, that it's enabled, that it has clean, and there are no errors or warnings. And then we can go and look at the container, and we can see pretty much the same information, but just a little bit more detailed logs and also its raw JSON. From here, I'm able to copy this URL, and I'm able to open it in the browser, and we're going to do hello world. And as you can see, that string that we reported in the Java code renders. Now, what's interesting is that every time this hello world runs, we can set a breakpoint here, refresh the page, and step through it in the IDE. And so that's a really powerful feature that is typically difficult in backend environments because you're usually running the code on the server, but in this case, you're running it right in the IDE. And we can just set breakpoints and step through it. In a trivial case like this, it's not too important, but this gives you full access to the system, the database, everything in the backend code in a secured environment. Okay, now that I've shown that, what I'm going to do is stop this deployment here and hit the stop button. There we go. I'm going to edit the runtime. Now, in a normal server environment, you don't load your elements like this, so I'm just going to comment out that source code and rerun it. And now that it's booted up, we can revisit the admin panel. We can refresh here, see that there's no containers and there's no runtimes. There's no deployments either. What we can do now is take the compiled code and load it through the admin panel and watch it load. That code is found in the target directory. When you build an element, it generates a couple of files in here. This is an Elm, which is basically a zip file containing all the compiled code, its dependencies, and some configuration information. Inside that zip file is a manifest that indicates the version, when it was built, the actual revision from Git, the dependencies of the element itself. In this case, it's got quite a few. And finally, the class path. This is the compiled code, as well as the APIs that it exports to other elements. Bundled together, that's an Elm, which is, again, is just a zip file. When we want to load that Elm, the simplest way to do that is to navigate to deployments, click New Deployment, drag the Elm from the IDE. Hold on, we'll drag it right here. And we'll see that the that the control panel, rather, not the IDE, inspected the element. It's able to see its contents. This path matches this path here. And we can skip all the advanced settings. Out of the box, you don't really need to do anything to configure an element. Once again, advanced settings for a different tutorial. We can finally review what it will send to the server in JSON form. And finally, create that deployment. It says that it is uploaded, so that's taken care of. We're going to hit done, and we're going to wait a few seconds here, and it switches to enabled. So now that that's enabled, it means that the element is, it has attempted to do a deployment, and so we can check by looking at the runtimes. We refresh the page here. We see one warning. I'll show you how to fix that. We have the same information we saw before with a different container. Well, let's refresh really quick. We see the container. We see that there's a warning, but we can still load our hello world, and it even hits that breakpoint. So how do we fix that warning? We're going to go into the settings here, advanced settings, and we're going to use the default, and that should clear the error. Just give it a few seconds. Enabled the runtime, refresh the runtime. We can see that it's clean. We fixed the problem. It is deployed successfully. The same thing, we'll refresh the container, and we see that we can see the elements URL. We refresh it. Once again, hit the breakpoint, and it all just works. So that's a quick tutorial on how to build and load custom code. If you want to learn more about it, there's plenty of resources on how to develop REST APIs and connect them to Unity. And so you can check that out. But yeah, good luck with it. Leave any questions in the comments section. I'll be sure to link all of the relevant printed documentation or written documentation rather on the description as well as any other resources. If there's anything missing, please let me know. Join our Discord, and of course, like and subscribe.